All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another edition of Sportskeeda's Unscripted. I am Chris Featherstone, as always. So this man is, of course, a man of his word. And he said, last time we talked, it was so many questions. It just couldn't be done in one show. Come on, guys. Of course it couldn't be done in one show. He has 30 years to cover. So, of course, it couldn't be done in one show. So he's a man of his word, as always. He's back. And better than ever, as his theme song would say. My man, Eric Bischoff. How are you tonight, sir?
Good, Chris. Good to be with you. And I just realized that, you know, every show, every host, every form of entertainment has its own personality, right? And I just realized what makes your show so unique.
Ooh, okay.
Special. What makes it stand out from all of the other shows I've done is you've got this smooth jazz kind of vibe to your show.
Hey, okay.
Even the music, as I'm sitting in the waiting room ready to get going, it's like, damn, this is just like smooth and comfortable, and
nice.
It just feels good. So hats off to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's a lot coming from you, since you know, you were a media mogul. So that's
I was a media muskrat.
So I appreciate that, man. That really that means a lot. So I appreciate that. All right, we have the questions rolling in. So let's start with Prete. Hey, Eric, what are your thoughts on Retribution, and how can WWE save the angle? I guess he already shared his thoughts on Retribution from that question. Prete did at least.
How old is this angle? Like 3 weeks old?
Yeah, it's only a few weeks old.
You're dead already, or it's not. It's in the emergency room in triage. They're trying to save its life. It's only 3 weeks old. I honestly can't answer that because I haven't watched it. So not gonna lie, I'm not gonna make stuff up.
Yes,
not my thing. But
indeed.
evidently, somebody thinks it needs to be saved.
Right. Michael's asking, how was working Kane back in 2003?
You know, Kane is Glenn Jacobs is one of the most intelligent people I've ever had the opportunity to work with and get to know. Really, really smart guy and very well rounded. I loved working with Kane. Just ultra professional. Ultra professional.
Nice. That's awesome. Let's see. Ablosh says, "Hi Eric, your autobiography Controversy Creates Cash was an amazing read. Do you remember any angle from your WWE days that was scrapped due to being too controversial? If not, what do you think was the most controversial angle that made it to TV from your time there?"
There was nothing really that was ever scrapped that I know of. I wasn't involved in the creative process when I was a talent there, so I mean, maybe something had been in the works or developed and presented to a network, and the network said no. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most controversial thing I ever did while I was there. I mean, look, you couldn't get away with it today. You couldn't do the hot lesbian action.
HLA, that's for sure. Yeah,
Right. Would have been totally inappropriate. You would have got crucified in the media, and probably deservedly so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's probably something that I did back then that we all kind of went, yeah, that's wrestling, but you could never do today.
Who pitched that idea?
I don't know. I wasn't involved in the creative process, so I don't know where that idea originated from.
Mm-hmm.
I could guess, but I don't want to even do that because that would be unfair.
Yeah.
So true answer is I don't know.
Got it. Ozzy's asking, you look awesome. What do you think of AEW? And last time we talked was actually your debut eve. Last time I interviewed you. So you were heading out to Florida, and you were the moderator of the debate of Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy. Man, that was awesome to see you on there.
Imagine that, me as a moderator, because you automatically think of a moderator as somebody that's kind of even keeled and fair and balanced, and not biased in any way or not playing favorites in any way. And I've been a heel character my entire life. I've made a living out of being a character that loved to lie, cheat, and steal. So to be a moderator was kind of a new experience for me, and it was a lot of fun. What did I think of AEW? I was treated just first class.
Nice.
And I don't mean all the luxury parts being first class, but just the way people interacted with me when I was there, and the energy that I saw. And I watched people interact with each other. It really spoke volumes to me.
Nice.
Probably told me more than anything anybody else could have ever tried to explain to me. Just watching people work together tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah,
it's a really cool environment. Really cool.
That's awesome, man. That's good to know. All right. So Roman Reigns, let me know. I mean, I don't know if how much you've watched of Roman Reigns coming back SummerSlam. What do you think of the?
I
okay. Oh, good. So what do you think of the way Roman Reigns was reintroduced to WWE? Do you think he will work as a heel?
Well, I think bringing him back as a surprise, thank God for surprises, right? We love surprises in professional wrestling. That's one of the things audiences on all four corners of the globe will agree on. They love surprises. So hats off to WWE for being able to come up with it. Not only to come up with the idea, but to be able to execute it in a way that no one saw coming. Fan of that.
Yep.
Roman as a heel. Look, I wish it would have happened a couple of years ago. The timing was right a couple of years ago. I think they've tried to swim upstream for so long now that the audience may just be fatigued.
That's a good way to put it.
Not quite as interested in the Roman Reigns character as they were 2 years ago. And I pray that I'm wrong about that. Really hope I'm wrong about that. That's just my gut instinct, though.
Yeah.
Because they've been, the audiences wanted it. They've been begging for it. They've been asking for it. They've been petitioning for it. And to have been ignored basically for 2 or 3 years or more, they may have gotten to the point where they're just become numb to it to a degree, to a small degree, or not so small degree. Time will tell. I hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I think it's a little too late.
Yeah, it's really interesting. What do you think about the veneers? What do you think about the the teeth job that he had that Randy Orton's talking about here, and everybody's noticing about his new teeth.
I missed that.
Yeah.
That's one little tidbit of what's going on in the world that somehow got by me.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah, it's Roman Reigns.
I haven't heard about Roman Reigns' teeth.
Yeah.
Crying out loud, what does this world come to? The internet has gone to hell in a handbasket. We are now spending time talking about Roman Reigns' teeth. We're crying out loud, people.
Yes.
Life.
Even Randy Orton tweeted about his teeth, and him and Randy Orton had a little back and forth about his teeth.
With Randy Orton, because Randy Orton posted the picture of the horse with the big teeth and Roman with the big teeth. So I got. By the way, I think Randy Orton is the coolest, classiest, smoothest, almost perfect talent out there. He is. Randy Orton is the bomb. I was going to say something else. But you sent me. You're so cool, Chris, because you obviously listen to my podcast and F-bombs. We're out there. So for all of you that are listening, when Chris says, "Oh, by the way, I can't wait to do the interview tonight. Blah, 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 blah. It's going to be this time." And oh, by the way, I was swearing. So as you see me stop and stutter and fumble for words here, what I'm really trying to do is quickly edit myself. So I don't drop any F-bombs like this.
I appreciate your improvisation, Eric.
The only F-bomb I'm dropping is Featherstone.
Yeah. I love it. Let's go to Riju. Do you think someone you already answered the first part. Do you think someone like Orange Cassidy could get over with the mainstream audience?
Of course. Here's how that happens, though. On his own, as Orange Cassidy, the character, to be able to get over with the mainstream audience is a 1 in a million shot. Mm. But surrounded by the right people, with a great story, and some discipline creatively, meaning keeping him at a certain point for a certain period of time, absolutely I do. He's a great character. Mm-hmm. I love that character, by the way. I talked to him. Orange called me. I sent him a text right after we did the little thing together at AEW. I got back to my hotel room because I had a flight at like 4 o'clock the next morning, or I had to go to the airport at 4 in the morning to catch my flight at 6. So I didn't, as soon as my part of the show was over, I went back to the hotel so I could get some sleep. But before I went to bed, I sent Orange a text, said, "Man, I just want to tell you I really love your stuff." And he called me back, He was excited and was feeling good. I just told him, I said, "Man, your stuff is so brilliant because it's just so simple. It's so easy to identify with, either because you dig it or because you hate it." Yeah. We've all, people my age, have all met slackers that you just want to smack upside the head. You just do. Even if they're not doing anything to you, or they're not even doing anything wrong, but you can just tell they're such a slacker. You just want to smack them. Just for breathing perfectly good air and contributing something else to life. And he's that guy. Mm-hmm. Or, depending on your point of view, he's super cool. Yeah. He's confident. What a great character to be. But he's portraying both of those characters simultaneously, meaning that there are elements of his character that are going to appeal to 2 separate audiences for 2 different reasons. But it is so simple. And that he, I think, is, sometimes, less is more. We've all heard that saying, but man, it applies. And I think with a character like Orange Cassidy's, if he's around long enough, at the level that he's at right now, long enough, and he gets to interact with some other people that are maybe a little more recognized, like he did with Chris Jericho, but a little bit more of that. Because he's a cool character, and he's a very bright, intelligent young man. He's smart. He'll know how to. He created that character. That character was created on the independent scene, and Tony Khan saw it, and rather than changing it, brought it in-house and kind of helped refine it, I guess, to a degree. But that's all Orange Cassidy. And he's a very, very bright young man.
Yeah. If there was one piece of advice you would give Orange, what would it be?
Don't take too much advice from people like me.
That's a good piece of advice. I wouldn't agree to that. I wouldn't agree with that, but
seriously, because we all, this is, you know, this is true in life. You know, it's true in all facets of life. You know, we're all surrounded by people that are either more successful than us or less successful than us, or people that we admire or people that we don't admire too much, or you know, we're surrounded by such a variety of people. And I think, you know, take a little bit from everybody. Take a little bit from people you admire. Take a little bit from people that you don't necessarily admire, and analyze what they have to say so you really know how you feel about it. But after you're done doing all that, just be yourself.
Yep.
Be honest to yourself. Be true to yourself. I know it sounds like it is a cliche, but man, if you stay honest, if you keep yourself honest, and you're doing things because you believe it, because you're passionate about it, and because you feel it, you're successful. But if you can't, but if you allow yourself to be influenced by all of the noise around you, it's really easy to get off track. Orange Cassidy found it. He's on the path. He discovered it. He did all the work. Now tweak it, refine it, improve it, but be honest to yourself and to yourself in the process.
Yeah, that's good. I was asking, what do you think about Keith Lee moving up to Raw?
Visceral response is, I hope it's not too soon.
I agree.
That's it.
Yep.
You know, that's a tough thing to say. That's why I hesitated, because I don't know Keith Lee. I've never met him. Never had a conversation with him. But I know what he must be feeling right now. I can imagine what he must be feeling right now. And as excited as he probably is. So I don't want to say anything publicly that would maybe even for a moment rain on that parade or give anybody cause to have second doubts about themselves or second thoughts. But here's the truth. You know, you can break out too fast. You can break out before the opportunity can come your way before you're really ready for it.
Yes.
And if that happens, sometimes it's really hard to recover. And you know, you only get one opportunity to make a first impression, I guess. And you know, we've seen him now in NXT. We know he's, you know, we know Keith is a viable talent, but that's a big transition going from NXT to Raw.
Yeah.
That's a big move.
Yeah.
And I hope he's ready. That's all. I just hope he's ready.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really good observation. The Twitter sphere and the social media world has been commenting more on his generic music that they gave him and his really odd gear. So that has been the first. Unfortunately, that has been the first impression of many spectators who watch Raw. They felt like it was a generic version of how he was booked with NXT. So he's kind of already at a disadvantage based on that. So I definitely hope that he recovers. I think if I had the books, Keith Lee would be my guy. I would push him to the moon. I think he has everything. Promo work a little bit, you know, he can work on that, but I think he's a fantastic talent for me. So absolutely. Ablash is asking, did you and Vince ever have an argument over an angle, a push, or anything else during your time in WWE?
No, Vince, no. I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Jim is asking, why did you leave WWE?
The catering sucked.
How bad was it, Eric? How bad was it?
It was so bad that I gained 23 pounds while I was there in 4 months.
Did you really?
Yeah, I really did.
Oh, wow.
I left Stanford at 228 pounds, which is, for me, like I'm about 190 right now, and I'm probably about 15 or 20 over where I should be. But yeah, I left Stanford at 228 pounds.
How tall are you?
5'10".
Okay, gotcha.
I was a little chunky.
That catering, because that catering was so bad.
Catering.
Let's see. Greg is asking, AEW and NXT have a few weeks to break 1 million viewers before they're going back head to head. What do they need to do to get and keep those viewers?
Look, I think both shows are doing everything they can do, and here's the truth: you're in the middle of summer, which is the worst possible time to try to draw a television audience.
True.
There's people talking about ratings and shares and demos, and now you've got all these guys like Dave Meltzer that try to sound like they really understand programming and they understand analytics and ratings and advertising. And they really don't. They just read stuff and then they repeat it and try to sound smart. That's how that works. But there's a part of, when you look at radio, it's funny for you, isn't it?
It is, man. I'm trying to hold my laughing.
You know. See? It's hard when you laugh at people like that, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, when you're a pro like you. I'm not a pro. I just let this stuff fly, but you're trying hard to keep it in.
Yes.
But one of the other things that people don't often talk about is a HUT level, H-U-T, HUT levels. HUT levels are a measurement of the households using television. Now, in the fall, winter, and spring, HUT levels are high because the weather is lousy.
Right.
And the days are shorter. People are home more. In the summertime, when the weather is nice and people are out and they're on vacation and the kids are out of school and people are taking trips or playing softball at night or going to picnic, whatever. It's light till 10 o'clock at night, for a chunk of the summer. Nobody's watching television. So to try to get those numbers up during the summer, and what else is unusual about this summer? Oh, I know. The NBA is in play.
Yes, in August.
In August.
2 months late.
So now you're competing with the weather and people's lifestyles during the summer and the NBA, which by the way is kind of like March Madness. Now it's like going on all day and all night. And the NBA bubble, which is a really cool thing. I've never really been into basketball, but I'm kind of getting into it now because of this.
Yeah.
Because it's cool. It's different. I like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't expect anybody's going to get over 1 million viewers until probably January or February. Once we get through whatever's left of the NFL season, I don't even know that that's going to happen. Maybe it won't even happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think once fall sports, whatever that looks like, is over, it'll probably be January, February before we see $1 million viewer, ratings again.
Yeah. Let's see. Who's asking? Do you think elements of yourself in Tony Khan?
Do I think elements of myself, or I understand the question. No, and I can give you 11 billion reasons why. You get the joke, right?
Yes, indeed. Eric, fellow Eric, what wrestler or wrestlers did you want to get in the NWO that you couldn't get hired or to join the group internally? That's a good question.
Clearly, Eric Gertis didn't watch the NWO when it became a small town.
NWO City. NWO Georgia.
We had a freaking zip code.
Right.
No, that's funny. Chris, that's funny. I'm going to write that down. I'll tell that one as a joke someday in a live show. No, there wasn't anybody really. That was a challenge for me.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Okay, so let me piggyback off of this. the LWO had their own thing during the NWO era. Was there ever any interest in Eddie Guerrero or Rey Mysterio?
Not in the NWO.
Okay.
But, I mean, they were the LWO. They were, world order.
Yeah, but were there any interest in any of them, either of them joining the NWO before the LWO?
No, there wasn't.
No. Okay. Mark is asking, what are your thoughts on the late Brad Armstrong? Could he have been bigger than he was? Side note, Brad Armstrong to me is one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time, in my personal opinion.
No, I agree with you, Chris. What an amazing talent in so many different ways. And it's, when I often, think about why certain people got over or why certain people didn't get over that should have. It's that never-ending quest of, why. If you can figure out why something happened or why something didn't happen, like you got the keys to the kingdom, right?
Yeah.
It's when I look at somebody like Brian, I go, man, he's like every box. You could make a laundry list of boxes that you have to check to become a great, professional wrestler. And Brad, really checked every single one of them, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can think of, and it's not a good answer, and I wish I could come up with a better one, but there's an intangible quality with people who become stars. Or it's true in politics, it's true in entertainment, it's true in probably all walks of life. There's certain people that just, for whatever reason, they stand out in the crowd. And it's charisma. It's that, nobody knows how to define it. You can't manufacture it. You can't replicate it.
Yep.
You can't put it in a soft drink. You can't put it in a pill. You can't put it in a vaccine. You can't recreate it. It's either there or it's not. Some people are born with it or they're not. And Brad had everything else, but for whatever reason, that intangible quality that takes an average person and turns them into a star just wasn't there for him.
Yeah, I agree 100%. As a fan back in the day, he made a Russian leg sweep look like $1 million. One, and for two, I loved his theme song. I'm a theme song guy, and I loved Brad Armstrong's theme song. It's something about it that just really struck me. But I agree, just the intangible, I agree. And it sucks, but you're dead on. Let's see, a lot of Roman Reigns heel questions that's already asked. Let's go Lee here. Seeing Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, Dustin Rhodes, seeing Rock and Roll Express has an old school WCW feel to it. What's your thoughts, by the way? It was great seeing you back on Turner Network.
I'm not really sure what the question is there. There's a couple of them mixed in, but I think as far as AEW goes, I think what they found is a really cool balance of what's current in terms of the appetite of the current wrestling fan, the 18 to 34, 18 to 39-year-old demo, what's current to them and for them, but balanced just appropriately with some of the old school stuff. Arn, Tully, Express, myself a couple of weeks ago. You sprinkle a little bit of that in along the way as garnish or a seasoning. You don't want the seasoning to take over the flavor of whatever it is you're cooking. You want the seasoning to enhance it. And I think the way AEW is using some of the guys like Ross and Schiavone and Tully and Arn and Jake. And is the appropriate amount of seasoning because it enhances the overall product. It doesn't take away from it.
Yes. Spot on. I couldn't say it any better. All right, let's see. A couple more. Brian's asking, do you feel the storylines and writing was better in the 90s and early 2000s or now?
Storylines suck right now. They suck.
They suck as bad as your catering, Eric.
Storylines are getting worse and worse and worse. This is the one thing I feel adamant about. And, you know, everybody's, you know, you look at what WWE did at SmackDown and Thunderdome, you know, over the weekend. Such a phenomenal job from a production point of view. WWE, I've said this a million times. I posted it on social media a week before the event actually happened. I knew WWE was going to knock the Thunderdome concept out of the park. Better than anybody, including the NBA. I knew they would.
Yeah.
Because they're so good at that. What they're not good at is basic fundamental storytelling. They're just not. I love them. I have many friends there. I have some friends there who I consider my closest friends in the world and who I love dearly. It doesn't change the fact that their storyline, the architecture, their approach to stories, their discipline with stories sucks.
I agree.
And until somebody comes along and takes an honest look at storytelling and the structure of storytelling and the formulas that are used, it's going to be hit or miss forever. You're going to throw 10 stories up against the wall, and maybe one of them will hit.
Yes,
because there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no methodology to it. There's no model for it.
No follow through a lot of times.
No formula for it.
Yeah.
They're simply throwing shit against the wall and hoping it's sorry. I'm sorry. They are throwing things up against the wall and hoping those things stick.
Yeah.
Or that.
Yep.
And it's, you know, it's true across the board. The industry, the audience is there. We proved during the Monday Night Wars that you can, if you use your head and if you build it, 10 million people a week will come.
100%.
We proved that. Now you're lucky if 2 million a week come. Where do the other 8 million go? The answer is they're still out there. You just got to figure out how to get them interested.
Yeah.
That's the way stories are structured. Not the stories themselves, but the way they're structured.
Yes. Got to give you some standing O for that one, man. A sitting O.
Me and Chris, I have a fan club of 2.
I agree 1,000%, man. I've been a fan of pro wrestling since I was a kid in the mid '80s, and so I've seen, you know, over 30 years of wrestling, 30, close to 35, around 35, and it's just, I agree with you 100%. I still kind of long for that yesteryear feel. You know, and I think that it's still there. I really do. I think it's just the storylines.
They'll figure it out eventually. Somebody will figure it out.
I hope so, man.
Yeah,
I hope so.
But here's what fascinates me though, is every television network that carries wrestling, they produce movies, they produce television shows. They go through these processes with some of the best storytellers, some of the best producers, some of those creative people in the world, you know, all pitch shows to them and produce shows with them. So these networks understand what good story is, and they understand the structure of a good story. But for some reason, they're hesitant to kind of put themselves forward and say, okay, I know you guys really know wrestling, but we kind of know stories. So let's kind of like come together and figure out a way to enhance story structure so that it plays. I'm not, believe me, and I know people are going to hear this, they're going to read quotes from it, take everything out of context. I'm not suggesting that a network could possibly tell any wrestling company how to produce wrestling. But I am suggesting that networks who are in the storytelling business and have been for a long time at a very high level probably know a little bit more about story structure than a lot of wrestling producers think they do. And I think if there was a little bit of a meeting of the minds, and I think if wrestling producers would open up their minds a little bit and embrace the idea of a good, solid story structure, the odds of their stories being successful would probably be enhanced fourfold or fivefold.
Yeah.
And that'll happen eventually, but until it does, we're going to be stuck with throwing stuff up against the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yes, indeed. Last question from Karen Jeet. If you had to do it again, how would you have booked Bret Hart in WCW?
I would have booked him as my chauffeur.
And giving you catering.
I would have set him off. There was a guy in WWE. Yeah, I'm not gonna embarrass him by naming his name, but he was there. His sole job was to run, make sure that Vince McMahon always had steaks and stuff, in his office at the time. He was a gopher.
Yes.
Great gig for Bret Hart. No, I'm just kidding. I just look. Bret was an amazing talent. I have nothing but respect for Bret, what he accomplished, what he meant to the industry when he was at the peak of his career. It didn't work out in WCW. It didn't work out for a variety of reasons. And rather than pointing fingers and blaming and things like that, I'll just say I wished it would have turned out better for Bret. I wish I would have done a better job and been able to find that lightning in the bottle that would have worked for Bret and made him happy with his career. I wish Bret would have found the lightning in the bottle and brought it to me. Mm-hmm. Neither of those things happened. So we were both disappointed. But unfortunately, that happens sometimes. But nothing but respect for Bret Hart.
Very noble of you, Eric Bischoff. So with that being said, you're going to vomit after this is over. Let the listeners know. Of course, people who are listening to this, they know about 83 weeks. Anything else coming up?
Nah, pretty boring.
Your Twitter handle was at E Bischoff, right?
E Bischoff. Yeah. Yeah.
IG?
The real Eric Bischoff.
All right. And there are imposters. So if it's not that, it is not real. So my man, Eric Bischoff, it's always a pleasure, man. You are officially one of my favorite people to chat with concerning all things wrestling. So I appreciate that.
Chris, anytime, friend.
Thanks. And I appreciate the awesome compliment from the beginning too. I'm gonna embed that in for the rest of my professional life, man.
I actually feel more sophisticated as an individual after having spoken to you on your show. How classy your show is. I gotta go.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, Eric. See ya.